Good morning, Vanandal. Myself Bhavani from Civil Department, and today we are going to discuss on the topic of phases of disaster management. Means other than the overall this pre-disaster stage, emergency stage, and post-disaster stage, this is the phases. Means we can say the mitigation, recovery, and rehabilitation. These are all comes under this phases of the disaster management, and mainly we already know about this disaster management, but again I'm going to tell you it is nothing but the management and organization of the responsibilities and available resources which can be coping up with this various emergency situations. Means mainly when this time of this disaster, after the disaster completed, what are the process, means what are the steps we have to take. Means here you can see first one is response, preparedness, and recovery. Means by doing these phases of disaster management, so then the impact of the disaster can be lessened as much as possible. Why? Because immediate action taken of the disaster means that will be a very great beneficial towards the management of this disaster. And in this picture you can see here, firstly, when this green color is before the event, means before the event what will happen means mitigation. Here, if we want to mitigate this disaster, what are the precautions we have to take? Next one is preparation. Means if the disaster is obviously it is definitely coming, means what are the preparation we have to do? Okay, that is called as the mitigation and preparation. Here this one is the before event, and this one when this disaster is happened, this one is the red line you can see when disaster is happening. Okay, after the disaster is happens, next process is after the event, that is what is the response we have to go through at that time, and from the government what are the response we are going to get. Means immediate emergency facilities we may get at that time. And last one is that is recovery. Means after happening of this disaster, what is the recovery we can do? Means to recover that area or to go through this normal life after this disaster happened, we can do this one. Okay, and first one means here you can see these are all the phases: mitigation, preparation, recovery, response, recovery, and next will be rehabilitation also. First one, that is mitigation. Here what is the main objective of this mitigation is we have to reduce and also eliminate the long term risk towards the human life and also the property for any type of man-made disasters like means some chemical explosions like that one. Okay, and natural disasters like floods, earthquakes, and volcanoes. These are all the natural hazards. Means before coming of this disaster only, we have to eliminate this long-term risk towards the human life and the property. Okay, means if this disasters happen, means there will be so much loss of the economy of the state or whether it may be country also. So what are the activities we can take to mitigate these disasters or risk assessment? Here we have to identify the potential hazards. Means from where these disaster prone areas will be there, what are the potential hazards we can see. Means by analyzing the vulnerabilities, means what are the situations or what are the means where that where we can face that situations we can neatly, means we have to analyze the vulnerabilities from where this disaster can be happening, and also we have to assess the potential impact of the disaster also. Means we have to access this overall impact of the disaster here. Why? Because risk assessment is very much needed when we are going to mitigate the disaster. Next is land use planning. Here in this land use planning, we have to implement the zoning laws and also land use policies. Means by doing this one means when we are going to construct any type of structures, whether it may be infrastructure or whether it may be hydraulic structures also, we have to construct that with the earthquake code book only, means earthquake resistant code book only, means we are having some code books, Indian standard code books. From that only we have to follow the overall um, guidelines for the construction of the building, everything. Okay, so by doing this one means by following the zoning laws and also the land use policies, then we can prevent the building in the high risk areas. Means some will be at the means zone 2 regions will be there. In the zone 2 region, earthquakes will be very minimum. Okay, but then compared with the another zone 5, this zone 5 will be having more amount of earthquakes happen in that area. So when these disasters are going to be happen, we have to follow the zoning laws and land use policies to prevent the building in high risk areas, means that may be of floodplains and that may be seismic zones also. Okay, and next one is infrastructure improvements. Here we have to improve the infrastructure, means earthquake resistant buildings can be constructed, and also we have to utilize this we have to withstand this disaster, means by if these disasters happen means there will be so much loss towards the transportation, ports, airports, and overall means road lining can be destroyed easily when these disasters happen. So by doing this infrastructure improvements means we have to strengthen the buildings, whether it may be very high rise buildings or low rise buildings also, bridges and also hydraulic structure, means we have to utilize it, also utilizes to withstand the disasters. So we are going to construct the earthquake resistant buildings also. And next is natural resource management. Here what are the natural resource management is we have to protect and also restore these natural barriers, means after this means whether it may be from impact of this floods and also storms or any disaster, there will be so much deforestation. But before occurring of this disaster also, so many people they are doing the deforestation for the improvement of the or for the development of the urbanization. So when they are developing the urban areas, they are going to cut the forest. Okay, that is called as the deforestation. So by this one there will be so many disasters can be happen because of this deforestation. So we have to protect the natural barriers, means that may be wetlands, protecting the wetlands, forest or coral reefs also. So that can also reduce the, means by protecting these natural bodies, we can also reduce the impact of floods, storms and also other disasters. Next one is public awareness and education. Here we have to promote the disaster preparedness among the people, means among the people means community education can be done, means community programs can be conducted, so the people can be very much aware of this disaster, means how they are going to prepare when this disaster are going to be happen, means we have to include this disaster management in the school curriculum, and public information campaigns also we can do. So by doing these campaigns or workshops or educating the people about this disaster, we may get them prepared before facing these disasters also. Means when they are facing this disaster, they will be strong enough to sustain this type of disasters here. Means they will come to know about the safety measures when this disaster is happening. So some people they may go towards the safe places, and some people they will be just go to their go to some other people. Okay, best example of this mitigation process will be we have to building the levees and flood walls to protect against the flooding also, that can be very much beneficial. And we have to follow the building codes. Why? Because by following the building codes we can get the very strong structures that will be somewhat earthquake resistant buildings. And also these by enforcing these building codes, we can be very much safe towards these natural hazards that are earthquakes, tufan, hurricanes like this one. And main outcome of this one are we can reduce the vulnerability and risk of the disasters that will lead towards the few losses when this disaster is going to be occurred. Means when we are already prepared to face this disaster, means that will what will happen means some part of the disaster loss can be easily lessened when we are prepared against the disaster also. So we may have to be prepared towards the occurrence of this disaster, means that may be educating the people, or that may be adding the process of this disaster preparedness in the school curriculum, or protection of these natural resources can be done. So by doing all these one, we can be very much protect our environment, and when this disaster also occurred, means there will be so much lesson of this loss in the disaster happened areas. Next one is preparedness, and here in this preparedness, main objective of this one is we have to ensure that communities, government, and also some of the organization or private sector, they are ready to respond to, effectively when the disaster is going to occur. Why? Because only some manpower can't be enough when this disaster occurs. So much of the manpower is much needed after the disaster is going to be happen, or before the disaster is going to be happen. So by taking the help of this private sector, government, communities, we can get the people. Firstly, we have to train that people or give the drills among the people, so that people can go towards the normal people, so that trained people, they can be very much aware of this disaster, means how this disaster is going to be happen, how they can save themselves at that time. This can all be done in this preparedness, means we have to be very much prepared at the time of this disaster. Main activity we can see is emergency planning, means we have to develop and we have to update the emergency response plans at the locals and regionals and also the national levels. Means climatic conditions we can get from the environmental means that meteorological people, data can be come from this meteorological people if any disaster is going to be happen like that. Means if we get the information, we have to immediately give that response towards the local, regional, and also the national people. Means before coming of this disaster also, we have to make the response plans for the local people or regional people. Means we have to inform them, means about what are the what we are going to be prepared at that time. Means response plans, we have to immediately tell to them what we can do when this disasters happen. Means before this happening, what we can do, or we can save the property somehow, or we can save the family somehow. So by doing this preparedness also, that will be very important to escape from this disaster losses. Okay, and next one is training and drills. Here we are going to conduct the regular disaster drills for this emergency responders, and also the schools, businesses, and also colleges, and also communities, to practice evacuation and rescue, and to get the first aid facilities before the disasters happened also. Why? Because after happening of this disaster, they may be aware of the disaster happening. Okay, so they have to means they get the knowledge how to do this first aid, and what are the processes we can do when these disasters occurring. Practice can be done among the people, means by doing the drills, by doing the emergency responders in the schools, businesses can be seen at that time. And also early warning systems, means we have to view the early warning systems towards the people who are getting the disaster. Means we have to arrange the systems to detect and also provide the timely warnings from the impending disaster. Means from the weather monitoring people or tsunami alerts, we can get this data. Means these weather monitoring people, they will get the overall data, means whether disaster is happening in that area or not, or in which area this disaster is happening. Means by getting the data from these weather people, we are going to spread among the overall that disaster prone areas immediately by the taking the help of social media or communication networks also. Means by doing that, that will be a very much prepared among the people who are going to face this disaster. Next one is resource stockpiling. Here we are going to store the essential supplies like food, water, and also medical kits and also the equipment to ensure the availability during the disaster. Means if the disaster is happened, means we have to ensure that uh, to store the normal services, means normal daily services like of storing the food, water, drinking water, and also medical kits, all have to be get before getting of this disaster. Okay, to ensure the availability of this normal daily services from the disaster prone areas. Next one is coordination and communication. And in this one, we have to establish the clear lines of the communication and coordination among these various agencies and organizations who are involved in this disaster response. Here we are going to involve the public sector, government sector, and overall some NGOs, organizations. We are going to take the help of that people at the time of disaster. Okay, means we have to coordinate with them and we have to communicating with them at that time, and so that they can be involved in the disaster response also. Main examples of this preparedness are regular earthquake and fire drills can be given to the students in schools and also the workplaces. Okay, and we have to establish the emergency operation centers, means some mobile services, mobile medical services can be given to the people, that can be activated during the disaster also, that can be established. So not so many people can be injured at that time. And next one is what is the main outcome when we follow this preparedness, means we have to enhance the readiness to respond quickly and effectively towards this disaster. And then when we are very much prepared of this disaster, means there will be so much minimize in the loss of life and also the property. Next one is response. And in this response, main objective of this one is to provide immediate assistance to protect the life, property, and also the environment during and immediate after the disaster. Here means after occurring, means mitigation, preparedness, or before the disaster. Okay, means after the disaster, here we can see the response, recovery, and rehabilitation here. Okay, and here main activity of this one response is emergency services activation. Means we have to immediately set up the rescue teams to respond towards this disaster prone area, and fire, medical, and also search, and also mobilizing the police can be done immediately. Why? Because if not, immediate action have to be taken. If not, so many people they can lost their life due to the late action taken by the government, like that one. So emergency services have to be activated immediately after the disaster is happened. Okay, that may be searching, that may be rescue, or that may be fire, medical services also. And next one is evacuation and sheltering. Here we are going to implement the evacuation, means like displacement. We have to implement the displacement plans, and also we have to temporarily give shelters towards the displaced population. Why? Because if some area is already affected with the disaster, means we have to save their lives, and after saving their lives we have to protect them. Okay, for the protection we have to take that people from that unsafe area towards the safe area. So in that safe area we have to construct the temporary shelters, or we have to provide the temporary shelters like tents, like that one. Okay. And next is emergency medical care. Here we have to provide the emergency medical care, like mobile medical care can be given, means instantly we have to just medical care can be given to the injury people, means instantly we can be given, means we have to immediately provide the first aid towards that injured people, medical treatment can be given, and psychological support can be given to the injured and also the affected people here. Why? Because we already know about this medical treatment, but psychological support is must and need. Why? Because some people they may get this trauma by losing their family or by losing their properties. Means obviously, if our house is collapsing in front of us, means it will be a great trauma towards us. Means if we lost our family also, that will be a very great blow towards us. So psychological support should be needed at that time, and search and rescue operations are must. Why? Because so many people they may struck under the collapsed buildings at that time. So we have to search that people and rescue that people towards the safe area. So some people they may be trapped under some another building, like that one. So it can be that people can be easily rescued, and they have to isolate that people, or isolated because of this disaster. They have to save by these forces, so they can be transferred towards the temporary shelter place. And next one is damage assessment, means we have to conduct the rapid assessment to determine the how much damage is done towards that place, and how much response efforts can be sent towards that place. These are all damage assessment have to be done by us. And next one is examples. Here we have to deploy the National Guard units to assist in the disaster stricken areas, means immediately we have to deploy the National Guards, okay, to assist for the disaster stricken areas. And also we have to provide the food, water, medical supplies towards the disaster survivors, so that they can be safe at that time. Next one is outcome. Here immediate action to be taken after the disaster is happened, means we have to go immediately towards the affected area, so that we can reduce the impact of the disaster on both the humans and also the animals and also the properties. And next one is recovery. And in this recovery, we have to restore the affected community to its pre-disaster stage. Means we have to get that disaster affected area to the normal, means previously how it will look like, we have to get that to that stage or better. Means that may include the rebuilding infrastructure and homes, and also restoring the economic and social systems also. Okay, means what can we do in this recovery, means we have to restore the or reconstruct the damages, means like constructing the rebuilding houses, schools, colleges, hospitals, mainly schools, colleges, educational buildings and also the hospitals have to be reconstructed, and transportation facility have to be repaired immediately where this can be damaged by this disaster. And main next one is economic recovery. Here we have to support the return of their businesses, means we have to give the loans or give the funds towards the disaster occurred people, means disaster survivors. We can give some funds towards them, means for giving this funds also we have to think about their means status, means some low income people can get these funds. Means why? Because high level people they may get the money from, they may get the money immediately, but low income people they can't be having any money at that time. So government have to give some funds towards them to start small businesses, and also to provide them economic support for that people and financial assistance, so that they can restore their livelihood. Next one is psychological support. Here they have to offer the counseling and medical facilities, or mental health facilities to help the individuals and also the communities to recover from the trauma of the disaster here. Next one is debris management. Means after the disaster is happened, there will be so much debris on the land, and the drainage system is can be failed at that time. So we have to clean the overall debris, and we have to restore the public spaces and utilities also. Okay, by cleaning everything, we have to restore to their previous lives. And next one is long-term development. Here, when we are thinking about the previous disaster, we have to be prepared so that there will be so much improvement in our livelihood. Means we have to construct the buildings with earthquake resistant, or we can build with the so much improved technologies. Means if another disaster is also going to be happen, means we can be easily sustained at that time. Means there we have to give the services that can reduce their future disaster risk also. And what is the main examples is we have to reconstruct the homes with the improved building standards to withstand the another or other disasters. Okay, we don't know when this disaster are going to be happen. Means in the future also, if this disaster are happening, means we have to be very much alert, and we have to know about the everything about this disaster. Preparedness should be there. Okay, means we have to follow these building standards also. Nextly, we have to provide the business loans to help the local economics to recover to their normal livelihood. Okay, and next one is outcomes. Here, community can return to the normal functioning, which enhances the overall resilience to future disasters here. Means when people they come to their normal livelihood after the disaster, means that will enhance the resilience towards this disaster. Next one is rehabilitation and reconstruction. It is one of the considered part of recovery only. Means I already told you about recovery, but this rehabilitation and reconstruction are also important. Here, what is meant by this means we have to restore and improve the affected area immediately. Means it may be socio-economic and also the environmental conditions. Means if the overall climatic conditions is changed at the time of disaster, means there will be so much waterborne diseases, airborne diseases can be faced among the humans and also the animals. So we have to restore that place and also reconstruct that place. Rehabilitation can be done in that place. So these are all very much necessary towards the healthy environment. First of all, main activities what we can do in this rehabilitation and reconstruction means first one, rebuilding infrastructure. Some of the infrastructure like buildings, dams, high-rise buildings, public buildings, roads, overall transportation facility can be damaged because of this disasters here. So we have to construct this again. Means after collapsing of these buildings, again we have to construct the buildings. So at that time we have to build that overall buildings with better high standards, safety standards we have to build. And next one is housing rehabilitation. Means some of the houses may not be damaged totally. Okay, for that one, repair action can be taken immediately, and we have to rebuild the houses sometimes. Means we have to very much focus on to reduce the vulnerability for the future disaster. Likewise, we have to construct the houses again. And next one is environmental rehabilitation. Means we have to restore the landscapes. Means how we can restore the natural landscape means by doing the reforestation. Means by doing the reforestation, it can be very much beneficial towards the environment. Means that also can be affected. Means because of this disaster, wildfires also can be happen. So such as reforesting areas can be affected by this wildfires, or rehabilitation wetlands can also be damaged by the floods here. Next one is social recovery programs. Here we have to establish the community services like schools, colleges, healthcare, medical health should be provided immediately, and social services. So long-term support should be there for the disaster prone areas for vulnerable groups here. Next one is community empowerment. Here we have to involve the local communities for the decision making process so that they can ensure the reconstruction efforts which met their needs and also build their capacity for the future occurring of the disasters. And next one is example, means what are the main example of this rehabilitation and reconstruction, or we have to build the new community centers. Okay, means that can be served as social hubs and also the emergency shelters. Means by building this one, when any disaster happen, means that disaster survivors, they may we may take that people towards these emergency shelters and rehabilitating damaged ecosystems that will protect against the future environment hazards also. Okay, means where we have to be very much careful after this overall um, disaster happened also. Means we have to be the reforestation can be done. Means we have to be very much extra cautious towards this waterborne diseases like that. Next one is outcome. Means we have to be means very strong and more resilient community will be better prepared for the future disaster. Means very much preparedness should be, we have to be there before coming of these disasters also. Next one is prevention. Means this will be related to the mitigation and preparedness. Here what is the main objective is we have to avoid or reduce the likelihood of the disasters, means that will be occurring in the first place. Means what are the main activities or legislation and policy development. Means here we have to create the laws and regulations that will limit the human activities to not cause this disaster. Means such as deforestation. By this deforestation also so many natural disasters are happening. Okay, why? Because these earthquakes are happened when the earth surface will become high with high temperature. Means if there is high temperature, means at some places these earthquakes can be occurred. Means also unregulated urbanization can be seen and industrial pollution can also be reduced if we are going to save this save ourselves from this disaster. Means next one is risk mapping and zone. Here we have to identify the areas which are very high risk of this disaster. Means we have to restrict to build any type of structures in that areas, and also we have to develop the overall human activities in those areas. Means whether it may be construction or whether it may be some other thing. Next one is public education campaigns. Here we have to awareness can be done among the people before before coming of this disaster only. Means we have to encourage the behaviors to reduce the risk also. Okay, what we can do, means some of the example here, banning construction in flood prone areas. Means when we are going to eradicate the construction, means some illegal constructions will be done in the flood prone areas. Means we have to ban that type of construction in that areas. And next one is we have to educate the farmers about the sustainable practices to prevent this soil erosion. Means if the soil erosion is done, means that will be a very great impact to the overall agricultural fields. So we have to educate the people about these sustainable practices also. Main outcomes from this one is we have to we can reduce the occurrence of the disaster, and we can easily minimize the impact when the disaster is going to be occurred. Okay, and this is the overall summary. This disaster, it is nothing but the continuous process. Means when we faced one disaster, means we can't repeat the same mistakes again and again. So we have to improve our action that can be taken from one phase to another phase, and these mitigation and preparedness activities have to be done to reduce the need of an extensive response here. And this response and recovery efforts also can lead the better long-term development and also the resilience among the areas. And in this each phase, means whether it may be response, whether it may be mitigation, These are all interconnected or interlinked. These are all contributed towards the holistic approach that strengthens the communities. Okay, means by doing this overall recovery response activities, that will only strengthen the communities against the inevitable challenges when we are going to face these disasters. Okay, these are the references books. Thank you everyone.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.